Well, hey, howdy. Welcome to the Camp Boondog Workshop. Today, I just wanted to document some stuff on this lantern while I got it in the shop. I'm doing a tune-up for one of my GPA buddies. Coleman made the much desired 316 arc lantern, but that came in a number of different varieties. And the one that seems to be rarer and more sought after is the Yale version that was equipped with the nulite type generator. So that's what I got here, and I'm going to show you the differences. I'm going to show you why this is different from like a standard Coleman 316 arc. To start out with, most of these were just brass plated. They are not brass plated, solid brass and polished. Very few were nickel plated. More obvious differences is the collar, the glow breast collar. On the Yales, they just had one large row of holes all the way around instead of 3 rows of smaller holes. Another more obvious difference is the bail. On this nulite variety, the bail is pretty much just a rounded bail. The wooden handle was not painted, it was varnished. Okay, those are the easy ways to spot it. Things that are less noticeable are on the vent cap on your shade. On the Yales, it has 3 screws holding it together. Coleman's only had 2. Okay, in most cases, the top loop nut was the same. Some of the Yales had a fancier diamond-shaped one, but this didn't. Okay, another thing to look at, whoa, I'll find that later, is the inside of the shade. The inside of the shade has these clips. They're not actually clips. What they are brackets out of the heavier gauge brass, and these tabs fit on the inside of the globe to keep it centered. The more common Colemans have a spring type thing, which has a leg coming down, a bump, and then in, and the bump is what keeps the shade from, centered on that. Now also on the Yales, the inside has 3 brackets that are screwed in place. The Coleman has 4 little holes that have clips. Also on the Yale, there's only 1 cross piece. The Coleman has 2 cross pieces. Now here's something that's common both to Yale and Coleman shades, is this bump. What that is when Coleman made these, they spun formed the shade, and then they took a wire hoop and bent the edge around the wire hoop to give it some strength. But the thing was, the ends of the hoop weren't attached, they were just loose. So over a period of time, this bump would occur. This is where the 2 ends of the wire loop met, but were not joined. So this is a very common thing to see. On some of them that have been exposed to a lot of humidity, that wire loop in there is made out of steel, and it'll start to rust. And you know how rust, when the steel oxidizes, it kind of expands? It'll pop this bead, and that can make life miserable. That's a hard thing to fix up, but it can be done. All right, now I'm going to put this on the side here somewhere. Hang on. Okay, the globe is pretty much standard to the Coleman variety, the Yale variety, and the Sunshine. Even the nulites, or the national stamping ones, use the same type of globe. So taking the globe off, whoop, I gotta take the smoke. Taking the globe off and carefully setting it aside someplace so I don't break it. Hang on. Poor planning, hold on. There we go. Looking looking at the burner unit here, what we got is the Coleman variety has a straight bar with two standards coming up. The actual nulite has a round disc with a bent bars coming up, and that's how that's framed. The generator is kind of like the nulite and gloria generator that has that focus or not. It has a tapered thread, so as you put it in and tighten it, it makes up, you know, a gas-free connection. If you ever have to disassemble one of these that has not been taken apart for the last 80 years, most likely you're going to break it. When this locks up, it locks up good. What you got to do is put some penetrating fluid in there, heat it up a little, put some more penetrating fluid in, heat it up a little, let it sit, and then you got a good chance of being able to unscrew it without busting off the thread. Okay. I believe there are still replacement generators available through old Coleman parts. But the fellow that's been making the replacement generators, I think, is pretty much retiring, so they may become scarce as hen's teeth. But that's the burner setup on that. The fuel cap is the same on Coleman, Sunshine, and Yale. Now another thing which I kind of like on the Yale is the lighting door. On the Coleman, the lighting door extends down, has a rivet, and it'll swing to the side to light. The Yale version, I don't know if you see this. See, that's got a little hinge there, and it has a tab that comes up into the globe rest, and it pops down like that. I prefer this to the other one because this doesn't get deformed as quickly when it comes to fixing it up. And the one thing, I love this whole design. The one thing that I thought Coleman fell down on, and later they did it differently, is that there's no positive stop for the globe rest or collar. It was the weight of the globe and your shade going on top of it. As you look at newer lanterns, they'll have a securing nut that holds all this together. Anyway, this is the pure Yale version of the Coleman 316. Early 316s, the Coleman ones had the big shade or the big holes and the round loop on the bail, but they had two screws instead of three, and spring globe spacers instead of brackets. But anyway, that's it. So this is the pure Yale version with the nulite or gloria type generator in it. So anyway, thanks for stopping by Camp Moon Dog Workshop. Y'all have a really good rest of your life. Okay. Talk to you later. Goodbye.